for the players. Tony hailing from Connecticut, Massachusetts. Brady hailing from New York. And Brady is an outstanding, classy young man that everybody's going to get to find out about him very soon. He's a great kid, great sense of humor. A little shy. Tone going to hit an airmail, get to 12. Shaking his head, I don't know why. Brady comes down the lane, hits the collect shot, and that is a double four-bagger right there. Score's going to remain 8-0 in favor of Tony. We got Corey Russell checking in. He's posted a bunch of comments here. What's up, Corey? Tone first bag, heading back the other way. It's down the lane and in. Brady trying to set a block, trying to get one of Tony's bag to kick out of the lane. Tony keeps all of them straight. Pinning Brady's like that. That's well executed by Brady right there. Tony gets in behind Brady's bag. Brady gonna have a chance to get around Tony's bag, take his in with the one in his hand. That's a good bag by Brady, pinning Tony's bag. But I've seen Tony execute an unbelievable shot yesterday where he collected his own bag and left his opponent's bag in the lane. We'll see if he can do it here. Well, Tony's just going to take all of it. That's another four-bagger right there for Tone. He's not going to allow Brady a chance to score in this round. Brady had no, didn't have much choice right there. Just had to go in with his last bags, so he doesn't give up any more points. That's back-to-back double four-baggers. This player's on a heater. Tony's shooting a 10-3-8. Brady shooting a 9-3-8. Tony's in. Brady with another blocker, desperately trying to get Tony to have one of his bags hit and kicked. And that bag right there looked like it was it. I think Brady may have wanted to go on the slick side with that bag. He went stick and they pinned against each other. Now Tony gets a block in behind. Brady's going to have to shoot an airmail. Good bag right there by Brady. Knocked two in. The bag they threw rolled over, sitting on the board. Tony's got an option. He's got two options. He can go for the airmail and try and drag the bag, or he can go for the push shot. Instead, he elects to go for the airmail, leave the blocker out in front. That's a good strategic move right there. For that reason, Tony wanted Brady to shoot another airmail. And Brady misses, and Tony's going to get a chance to take three. In an opportunity, in a situation like that, we have a bag hanging in a hole, you have a blocker. That round, I would actually say, was pretty masterful. Tony can maybe go for another airmail here. Hits the airmail drag, gets to 12. Brady going to have to collect and try to get to 10. And he does. Brady went with a slick side push. He wasn't going to be able to get both of them. But all you can do in that case is to just try and get one of them, minimize it to only 2 points. Tony's going to take two more. Tony is well aware of Brady and how good the kid is. I would argue, despite the numbers, Brady is not playing a bad game. Tony is just playing a better game. Brady is trying to jam up the lane, play some defense here on Tony, because Tony is just getting every bag in the hole. Unfortunately, sometimes when you do that, you put yourself behind, and now you're going to play catch up in the round. Brady's going to go up. Good bag right there by Brady. Tony with a couple options here. He can roll over, sit one out in front, push it all through. He's going to go for the push. You knock two bags in, you get to 10. Brady's going to have a really tough time collecting that bag off to the right. It is in the red zone. And Brady uses it as a bumper to wash out the round instead. $13-0, Big Tone. I must have missed one. Tony must have went in. Brady trying to get, comes down the lane, gets to 10. Brady is going to land his last bag on the board. Looked like he was trying to shoot an airmail there, and the bag just came up short. Score round 10 on 8. It is 15-0 in favor of Tony Smith. Tony's down the lane and in. Brady going to try to set another block. That's a good block right there by Brady. Not that he's thrown bad blocks, but Tony's just worked around everything. Just like that, Tone hits an airmail. Brady can either go for the airmail or make Tony hit 3 airmails. Tony hits another one. Tony's going up. Tony is going to get another 4-bagger. Brady's going to have to go slick side push right here. And he does. That's actually a perfect round by both players, but more of a perfect round by Brady that time. Brady set the blocker, made Tony hit 3, and Tony did hit the 3. And Brady with a push collect in the end. Unfortunately, Brady is not rewarded with any points or anything to show for it. I had mentioned earlier that Brady, despite being a bad game at all, Tony's just outplaying him. Brady finally has an opportunity here to get on the scoreboard. He's got to hit a push collect shot like he did in the last one. Unfortunate break for Brady. Score around 9 on 7. That's 2 more for Tony.
Like you did in the last one.
If you know your opponent is blocking, I think it's a good play to just go in, get ahead, and then it's easier to play from when you're ahead instead of having to play from behind and having to play catch up. I think Brady perhaps surrendered with trying to block on the first bag every round. It's not working for him. Tony with a blocker of his own on the second bag. Brady's bag is out of the lane. Tony gonna have a chance to collect, but he's gonna probably want to replace. Brady just go in, take those bags in, and leave a block in behind. That's a good play by Brady. Tony's gonna go up and over. Surprising, I would think that Tone would just go through that bag because Brady's gonna get to 10 anyways. It's hard to second guess the man that's winning 17-0.
Get on the scoreboard.
That Tony pushed through to guarantee himself 2.
Like he did in the
got
last
to 19. Instead, it's going to remain 17-0 in favor of Big Tone. Tony now setting the block on his first bag. Brady up and over with the airmail. Both players are shooting great. Interesting play there by Tone. Looked like he was going for the roll bag there. Brady's going to go up and over and drag his own bag. Oh, and Brady's getting the booze. Brady was trying to go through and take 3.
Brady's going to go up.
Instead, he's going to knock Tony's bag in and take 1. But at least Brady gets himself on the board. Score that one a 10 on 9. It is 17-1. Brady, I believe for the first time in this match, is going to have first bag. I don't know if he had first shot or not. It was so long ago, I can't remember. Brady's block is out of the lane. Tony is going to push 1 left. Corner of the bag is sitting in a hole. It's still collectible on an airmail. Tony may go for the airmail right now that Brady's bag is pinned and against Tony's bag. It actually makes it easier for Tony to be able to drag this back in. Touches that bag. Oh, Brady bullied it. He's gonna get it. He's gonna have to get it sooner than later. He's gonna have to be on this bag, otherwise you're gonna have to let it go. Tone's up, going up. What an amazing pull by Tony. Even Brady was impressed. Brady's laughing. This kid's ridiculous. This kid is ridiculous. Brady coming down the lane, he gets in. Tony can go in for 2 here. Gonna try to throw a wraparound shot and wrap around that bag. And that bag's gonna come up short. Round's gonna wash out at 10.
Gonna have to be on this bag, otherwise you're gonna have to let it go. Tone's up, going up. What?
Are you guys professionals? Are you guys pros?
Jimmy Youmans stirring up the crowd back here. He's got comments for everything. Brady going to have first bag, heading back the other way, 17-1. Brady's bag is a little bit to the right. Tone may have an opportunity for 2 here. Tone's bag a little bit left, but collectible. Brady going to have a tough time pulling that back. If he hits the inside corner, he may get it to pull back in. He did. He repositioned. Brady's going to have to go in here. Great. Oh, I thought that was just, I thought he had a bag left. Tony can go in for the win. That was ridiculous. That was ridiculous. And Brady knew he was a chance of he might lose the game with that last bag not going in. Tony hit a clean air mail over Brady's bag. He did reposition Brady's bag, but not enough where he pulled Brady's bag in. Tony is going to dominate this game and take the victory. What are we doing? Are we staying live or are we taking a break? We're taking a break. All right, we'll be back in a minute, folks.
Sorry, I didn't know your name. I didn't know how. I don't know. I didn't know your name. I didn't know.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. You are joining us here at ACL Europe. We want to welcome in Marco from Serbia. How you doing, Marco?
Hey man, how you doing? All good?
Good. We're gonna put you in the frying pan here in a minute, Marco. We're gonna ask you some questions about cornhole. We'd like to get your opinion. But before we get into all that, we want to introduce the players in this match right here. We have the world famous Frank Modlin. This is a winner's bracket match in the other bracket of singles. He's going to be facing off against the sensei himself, Sean Farrell. A couple of American players here. Frank hailing from North Carolina. Sean hailing from New York, another Northeast Conference player. We get to see him a lot. We have to deem Sean Mr. Europe because he is made many international European Opens. I think he's been in the Netherlands, he's been in Germany, he's been in France. I don't even know where else he's been. I think he's been to Switzerland.
Switzerland, yeah.
He's been all over.
Immediately
Oh, yeah.
went back home and basically if you search for cornhole in Serbia,
Yep.
0 results. So
Zero,
with a
yep.
couple of friends, I decided to start it in Serbia actually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So how did you find boards? Like, do you have to start with boards and bags? That's got to be the first question, right? So,
Yeah.
did you make your own board, or did you buy boards, or have them shipped in, or
Yeah.
what did you do for boards?
We had them shipped in, yeah.
You had them shipped in?
Yeah.
Well, was from like out of the country or
Out of the country, yeah.
out of the country?
Yeah.
Okay. That must have taken a couple of weeks for them to get there.
Yeah, actually, the guys from Wicked Wood Games,
Okay.
they actually sent us a gift. The
Yep.
first shipping was a gift
Yeah.
to start with something, you know. It was rack boards, but
Yeah.
that was enough to start with.
Sure,
And then
yep.
later on, we got our first com boards and then
Yep.
ACL boards,
Oh, great.
of course.
Great. Yeah, for the folks back home in the States, Wicked Woods is the biggest board manufacturer, biggest board and bag company out here in Europe. And, you know, the game is growing in all the European countries. I think the ACL did a great job of expanding the game out into other countries, beginning in Europe. You know, we're going to be taking a trip to Australia. I know it's made its way into Switzerland, Germany, France. There's probably some other countries that are going to be on the list next year for possible opens. So we're hoping maybe one goes to. So are you from Serbia?
Yes.
Okay, so maybe one will come to Serbia. Maybe some of the connecting countries. We're hoping there's going to be one in Italy. We don't know. Maybe some of the connecting countries around here. So, what are your bags of choice right now? Or what bags did you play with first? Did you play with the corn bags when they land on the board, all the powder pops up? Did you play with those or no?
No. We had some rack bags, but
Yep.
regular rack bags, not with the corn, with the granite yet. So I guess I need a lot to learn before finding a perfect bag. But
Yeah,
that's
no,
fine.
it takes some time to figure out what kind of throw you have, and then your throw will change as you play more, you know, so.
And the moment I thought I had the right bags, you know,
Yep.
only then I learned that it's not just the bags, it's the boards, whether they are sticky or not. So you
Right,
have to
right.
have at least 2 sets of bags.
Yes,
and so on.
conditions are important. You know,
Very
temperature and
important.
humidity is
Yeah.
relevant. You know,
Yeah.
so some days you show up to the boards and the boards are really sticky, and other days you show up to the boards and the boards are really slick. So
Yes.
it's in your best interest to make sure you have different types of bags that play at different speeds and different conditions. You know, some manufacturers make bags that boards can be very tough for a lot of people. That's a very difficult situation for myself as well. Fast bags on fast boards. I do not play well with fast bags on fast boards. But so I like to have the right speed bag when I'm playing. So I like to carry carpet bags, but I also carry we call them slinkies back home. They're faster bags. So I'm sure a lot of people in the States would love to know, like, well, do you have a practice routine? Do you practice once a week, twice a week, 3 times a week? How often do you play? Do you practice?
Yeah. I personally do practice like 4 or 5 days a week.
Yep.
Not every week.
Yeah.
A lot of other things to do, of course,
Yeah.
work, kids,
Of
family,
course,
and
yep.
everything else. Yeah,
Of course,
and we have a few more people who can practice every day.
Yeah.
But most of the other guys, they just can't. We're from the capital, you know, and
Yep.
most of the guys live in apartments and so on.
Yep.
So we're still trying to find a venue where we can practice, you know,
Yep.
at any time,
Of course. Yep.
which is very hard, especially during winter. Where,
Of course.
you know,
Yeah,
whenever
you need us where, you know, you can find a blind draw. You just get a group of people together where you get 20 or 30 people together. Everybody gets a random partner, and then you just play out the night, you know. So the standard format for us back home in the States is really double elimination. A lot of people like playing double elimination because it gives you at least 2 games, guarantees you 2 games, you know. It really depends on how far you're traveling, you know. And then you run 2 brackets in a night, so you're guaranteed 4 games as long as you have enough boards and games move along quickly enough.
Right.
There was a, I want to say invention, or there was a change in the landscape of cornhole when it was called round robin format. You know, you guys use the round robin around here a lot. And, you know, in the European brackets, when we play in the European Opens, it's all round robin into single elimination, you know. And single elimination back home in the States is not very popular at all. Nobody back in the States wants to play single elimination. Everybody wants to play double elimination.
It's the same here, yeah.
So
usually here, you know, rounders or the Swiss system, and then double elimination.
Right.
That's
So, Gary, it gives a chance for the beginners to play a little bit more, to have a chance to partner up with the more advanced level players, you know, and get to learn from them, you know. Yeah. So I would assume you're from Serbia, I'm assuming you don't have like a cornhole group that you can get together with once a week and have 10 or 15 people practice together, right?
Yeah.
You don't have that yet?
Yeah, we actually have. Yeah,
you do?
We had a meeting once a week at least for a couple of months, you know, and in May, actually, we started a league.
That's excellent.
We had
That's
a
great.
league in 2 major cities in Serbia, Belgrade and Novi Sad. It lasted for 4 months, 32 tournaments, and then the final tournament, we had 71 players in the league finals. So it's a lot more than we expected.
That's great. That's great. That's great news. That's how it gets started, and from there it just blows up and it expands.
At the same time, I had a chance to...
the best player in the world.
Yeah, we do follow the live streams. Yeah, sometimes we even gather to you know, drink some beer and watch live events.
For all the folks joining us on ACL Europe, I'm going to give you an invitation to join my Facebook page. What my Facebook page is, it's called Woohole Cornhole. It's WOOHOLE. And what we do is we travel everywhere. So we promote players of all skill levels. So we do local players, we do regional players, we do conference level players, we do national level players, and we also do international level players. We have no problem promoting anyone at all who plays this game, and I love to call matches, and I would be willing to promote anybody who wanted to be promoted. I kind of give people a stage and a format, you know, to promote themselves, and I'm going to tell you, it started with the kid who was in the last match. His name was Tony, so I'll give you a little story about, you know, us and how we got involved in cornhole, you know. A friend of mine back in 2014 sent me a text message, and I was in the middle of divorce at the time. He says, "I want you to meet me at this bar, and I'm going to show you this game, and you're going to love it." So, so I went and met him, and then he showed me, you know, the game, and there was bags and boards. He says it's 3 points if it's in the hole, and it's 1 if it's on the board, and it's cancellation scoring. So if I shoot an 8 and you shoot a 7, I get 1 point. I'm like, okay, all right, let's try it. So we tried it. I took a liking to it, but I didn't really get heavily invested in it immediately. It took some time for me to get invested in it. So, you know, circumstances in life had changed. You know, I had gotten together with Carrie, my girlfriend, and we met. And then, you know, we were big softball players, but we played cornhole in the backyard at the pool a couple of times a summer. And then one of my friends was pretty good at it, and you know, I'm like, you know what? I think I can beat you. I'm gonna practice this a little bit and see if I can beat you. And then I ended up beating him. And then, you know, he was a big talker and he had a lot to say and all this. So I said, you know what? Why don't we're like kind of evenly leveled players? Why don't we go out and try a tournament and let's see what happens? So we go out, we play our first tournament, and it was a social tournament. I didn't understand what the levels were of cornhole and all that at the time. We just played our first tournament, and we ended up winning the tournament. We went undefeated, and we beat everybody who was there. You know, like we won some money. We're like, oh great, that's even better. You know, so you know, a week or two went by, and then we discovered that there was this other cornhole tournament that was probably a half an hour north of us. So we ended up going up to it, and once again, it was a social tournament, and we ended that I had ever played. We won first place. We won a prize. So we're like, hey, this is pretty cool. So then there was a week or two after that, we had discovered that this thing called the ACL, the American Cornhole League, was running some sort of a tournament down in Pawtucket, Rhode Island, which is north of us. So we ended up going down there, and we were talking to the people who were running it, and we said, well, you know, we think we're good, right? Because we've played 2 tournaments and we've won. And they're like, well, there's an upper division and there's a lower division. So where do you think you belong? I'm like, I don't know. Like we win everything we play, so we must be good. Well, so we get into the tournament. We're up 15-0, and we lose in game number 1. My buddy and I are looking at each other like, what just happened? How did that happen? Right? So then we get into game number 2, and we're up 10-0, and we lose, and we go 0-2. And we're looking at each other, and we're like, how did these people beat us?
Yeah.
Like, we don't lose to nobody, right? Okay. So then after I lost, I'm like, okay, I'm going to put some work into this thing, and I'm going to practice, and I'm going to try to get better. So from there, it escalated. So we were playing softball quite a bit, and my interests were no longer in softball because, I mean, you know, our bodies were 40, 41, 42. You know, we're running around in the field with these 25-year-old softball players who, you know, could be professional softball players if there was such a thing, right? These guys are ripping balls at us like it just, you know, the ball's coming at us 100 miles an hour. Like, we don't need that on our 40-year-old bodies. Like, we're done. Like, we're done. We don't play softball anymore, right? So my interest swayed into cornhole, and then from there, I found out about this group, that group, the other group, and then I was out playing 2 nights, 3 nights, 4 nights a week, and then I realized there's tournaments on the weekend, so then we started traveling to tournaments, and then we started doing this and all that. And then Carrie and I got to a point where we said, you know what? There's no cornhole in our area. Like, everywhere we go to play cornhole, we have to drive. Was that the match? That wasn't the match. Oh, he just made a good shot. Right. Everywhere we go, we have to drive a very far distance in order to play cornhole. Why can't we bring cornhole to our area? So we had gone around and traveled throughout our area, and we had collected this idea from that group, that idea from this group, then we're going to do this, and we're going to do this differently and all that sort of thing. So then we decided to start our own group called Woo-Ho Cornhole, and the name stems from our hometown. We live in a town called Worcester, Massachusetts, and at the time, the Pawtucket Red Sox were being relocated. It's our baseball team. The Boston Red Sox are our big baseball team, and they have a passionate fan base and a massive following. So the Red Sox were relocating their AAA farm team from Pawtucket, Rhode Island into Worcester, Massachusetts, and everybody, it was the buzz around town at the time was, you know, oh, you know, the Sox are coming to the Woo Town, and all the connecting towns called Worcester, you know, Woo Town. So she decided to name it Woo-Ho Cornhole. So we needed to make decisions fast and furious because we only had a day or two to get this thing going. So we decided to make the investment. We bought boards, we bought towers, we bought everything we needed, and then before you know it, our cornhole group started to escalate. So we one thing that we had noticed when we were traveling is that one of the other groups that we traveled to always went Facebook Live for their finals match. So the finals match was always on Facebook every single week. Well, as we were doing that, we decided to join another league. So we were running cornhole on Wednesdays, but we would go play in our friends league. So we went to this Thursday and Friday night league that was about a half an hour south of us at Thompson, Connecticut. And this kid named Tony Smith was there. He was just one of, you know, 30 or 40 people that were in the room.
How old was he back then?
He was probably 15.
15?
Yeah, he was probably 15. Yeah. So we met Tony before he even threw his first bag in the ACL.
Oh, wow.
So, I mean, we've known Tony a long time, right? Now, I don't know if I've ever told the story, and I hope the story doesn't get back to Tony, because Tony wouldn't remember this, but the very first time that I played him, okay, he was nervous, and his hands were shaking because he was playing me. I was sort of a high-profile player, and I had qualified to be pro and all this. And here's this young kid that comes along, right? So I partnered up with, was that the match? I'm not even paying attention. Was that the game? That's the game? All right. I think we're going to have to pick up this conversation in the next match.
Okay.
So we're taking a commercial break. So, was Frank gained the victory? All right. We'll be back after the commercials. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. This is the Tornado calling a match, otherwise known as Chris Tonatolo, and we have Mark from Serbia. He's going to be joining us.
Hi, everyone.
All right, looks like we're going to have a pretty good match coming up here for you next. I think we're going to have Tony Smith, the #1 ranked player in pro singles, taking on the greatest European ACL pro that's ever lived in Jimmy Youmans. Can we deem him that right? Jimmy has won everything there is to win out here. Jimmy has not lost anything. This is going to be the match right here of interest for sure. Jimmy has won singles, doubles, blind draw, pro invitational. He cleaned house in Germany. They won the World Cup. They won everything in Germany. And Jimmy wasn't even expecting to win doubles yesterday, and he still won doubles. Now his last task is, can he defeat the #1 player in the world to take home the title in France? What happened? Oh, the music, okay. All right, so yeah, so we're live. The players are going to be coming up here in a minute. I'd like to pick up the conversation that we were just having a minute ago. Do you have the comments? Do you have the comments on the thing? All right, if you could bring the comments in, it'd be great. All right, so just to kind of give folks a recap in case you are just joining us right now, Marco?
Yes.
Marco had asked, or I got into the conversation about how we developed our group. So, you know, we traveled around locally, and there was not many groups in our area. We decided to start a group in our area. Play Tony, how Tony was nervous and shaken because, you know, I was a high-profile individual at the time, and I qualified to be pro and all this. You know, so the very first night that he played Tony, the format that his dad ran in the league was you played a best of 3. So you played every team that was in the league, and it was like 70 or 80 teams in the league, everybody 3 times. So if I was playing you and your partner, we would play 3 matches, and whoever won 2 of the 3 matches, like you could go 0-3, 1-2, 2-1, or 3-0.
Right.
And so you would take those wins, and that would accumulate your points into your rankings and the overall standings. So he ended up sweeping Tony and his mom. He was playing with his mother that night, and I had Mike Ferreira as my partner in the league, who was another ACL pro at the time. But we were just trying to partner up and play something. We were friends. Mike and I were friends from back home. Mike and I have been friends for a long time. Anyways, that's where we met Tony. So Tony had partnered up exclusively with his cousin Garrett at the time, and Tony and Garrett had played everything together. And so what we started doing was we started going live for our finals match every single week, and this kid would come to our group all the time, and he was in the finals every single week. No matter who his partner was, he was in the finals. He's in the finals. He's in the finals again and again. So people started to catch this name. But the thing that Tony did that really caught everybody's attention is he would put a block out in front of the hole, and then he would roll the bag into the hole and roll again and roll again. And he was just disintegrating everybody. And so it caught on. So, you know, he started traveling around in the area locally, and every blind draw that he went to, he was winning and just destroying everybody. So a lot of folks back home became fans because they were very intrigued by his approach, his strategy, his game, how he plays, and it's escalated way like to what it is now. You know, we had no idea at the time where this was going. But in any case, so we took a trip outside of our area. So we traveled 4 hours away to go play a regional. And at the time, there was a player in the Northeast Conference named John Kitchen. John Kitchen was just coming off of a victory in the pro division where the ACL took the top 32 male players, put them in a single elimination singles bracket. And John Kitchen won that. John Kitchen was at the region. Tony played me in 3rd place, and the winner of us was going to get to play John Kitchen. And I kind of wanted to see Tony play him, but at the same time, I wanted to get there. So Tony ends up taking me down. And so Tony ends up just disintegrating John Kitchen. And John was just furious. He couldn't believe, who is this kid? What is his role? What is going on here? Right? That's when Tony started to really get some people's attention around. Okay. By the way, the bag's alive here, and we're going to get into Jimmy and Tony here in a minute. So then after that, we took a ride down to Pennsylvania, there was this kid named Devin Harbaugh, who was at this regional at the time. So Tony and I had paired up in doubles, and I don't know who Devin played with that day, but Tony and I ended up winning in doubles at the regional that day.
Doubles, and I don't know.
Devin Harbaugh at the time was 1 point off of a perfect season to that point in the season that year. So he was the #1 player out there. Well, Tony gets him in singles, and I didn't see the first match, but he completely destroyed Devin in game number 1. And then Devin circled around into the finals, and Tony completely disintegrated him again in the finals. And then once he beat Devin Harbaugh, it became, who is this kid that is going around destroying everyone, you know? So we featured him on our page, and our numbers and viewers expanded largely in part because people wanted to watch him. But we've been with Tony since before he even threw his first bag in the ACL.
Wow.
Carrie had told Tony, she said, she walked up to him and said, listen, if you really like cornhole, you want to try this league called the ACL, and let's see how far you can go with it. And at the time, the first tournament he played juniors with his cousin Garrett and faced off against Justin Stranger, and I can't remember Justin's partner. But Justin Stranger and his partner ended up beating Tony and Garrett at the time. And then I think a year later, Tony's first pro partner was Justin Stranger. So, and then from there, we got a match in front of us featuring Tony and Jimmy.
Let me thank you.
I appreciate.
Firstly for
thanks
this
for letting
story.
me. Thank you. Thanks for listening, and thanks for letting me go on a bender there and chat for a minute. But yeah, let's bring it to what it is now. We got Tony and Jimmy, and I'm going to tell you, both of these players, again, Northeast Conference players. Jimmy hailing from New Jersey, Tony hailing from Connecticut. And I'm going to tell you that these two players have had some insanely competitive matches. Best of friends, but on the boards, it is all about that competition. And I'm going to tell you, I got to give Jimmy his props, okay? Jimmy has won everything there is to win in Europe. In these international opens or European opens where Jimmy has come out here, he has cleaned up, all right? Tony, this is his first international open. Tony in pro standings in the U.S., meaning that he's the best singles player in the country and arguably in the world. So you got Mr. European in Jimmy against Mr. All-World and Tony in this one. Jimmy looks like he's going to miss 2 airmails here. Tony's going to go in for a crooked number. Tony's going to hit an airmail. And Jimmy's not even sure what the score is. But I'm going to tell you, these guys have played against each other 2 consecutive years. They were in the finals of a pro shootout.
Tony's going to hit an airmail.
Jimmy won the first one, and Tony won the second one. Right now, it is 7-3 in favor of Tone. Best of friends, extremely intense competitors. Jimmy taking the same approach that Brady was trying to take. And he's trying to get a block down so that Tony's bags kick out of the lane. This match is going to be maximum concentration out of both players. There's not going to be any joking or fooling around here. You can see both their game faces are on. They are locked in, and they both tap to you and say congratulations on a great victory, but you're going to have to make bags like that, and that was an exceptional bag right there by Jimmy Youmans. And even with that, he still only gets 2. 7-5, Tony with the lead. Jimmy 2 bags off to the right. Tony could be looking for a 4 spot here. Oh, great airmail drag by Tony, and Tony throws his hands up. He was frustrated. He wanted to airmail over that, leave the blocker out in front. Instead, what he's done is he's opened up the lane for Jimmy to slide him in. Tony was trying to get another block down. He's off to the right. Jimmy's going to be able to go in the side door here around these bags. Oh, surprising shot right there. Jimmy's off the back with an airmail. I thought he could have cut it in the side. Tony hits the airmail to take 5. Scores now 12-5. Big Tone with the lead. Tony goes in. Jimmy's going to try to set a blocker. Oh, maybe not that time. It's not these guys' style to run bags, because what happens is they get bored in throwing bag after bag after bag after bag in the hole. So they get not impatient, but what they're trying to do is they're trying to get a block down to disrupt the other player's rhythm. And in doing so, sometimes you may cost yourself 2 points if your bag misses, but sometimes you can cause your opponent to miss a bag and you get to 2 points. Jimmy's going to go up. Oh, good bag by Jimmy. Tony goes for an airmail. And on the board, Jimmy tried to airmail drag 3 bags right there. He knocked 2 in. The bag that he threw kicked left on him. Tony going to strike for 2, score that one 10 on 8. It is 14-5 in favor of Big Tone. Can anybody beat him? I feel like we have, how does that saying go? The irresistible force against the immovable object. One of them's going to budge in this one. Once again, Tony, the #1 ranked player in pro standings in North America, and Jimmy, Mr. Europe, wins everything out here. Jimmy off the back with an am. He cleans it all up. He could be looking at 3. And Tony's bag kicked a little bit left. He could be getting 1 right now. Jimmy off to the left. Jimmy trying to get a block down. Tony could airmail drag this bag. It'd be some shot if he could get it. No, decides to get a block down instead, force Jimmy into an airmail. Jimmy hits it. Hit that one clean with 3 bags, cutting off half the hole at an angle, if that made any sense. Only going to take 1 that time. It is 15-5 in favor of Big Tone. Jimmy was on some kind of a run today. He gave up, I think, what was it, 3 points in 4 games? Goodness gracious. Tony tried to collect it all right there. He's got 2 bags sitting in a hole. Jimmy, he knows he's in a tough spot with Tony's 2 bags sitting in a hole. Tony is very likely to get those bags to go in. If he shoots an airmail, and even if he knocked both bags in, he can still get to 7. But if he goes in with the bag in his hand, he can get to 10. Jimmy with 2 bags on the board, 1 out of the lane, and 1 trying to clog up the pile to the left. See what Jimmy does here. Jimmy goes with a hard bar of soap, knocks all of Tony's bags in and all of his bags jammed up. Tony going to get a block in behind. He's going to force Jimmy to make another airmail bag right here. This could be the match. Jimmy going to knock 1 in, and that's going to be 5. Jimmy in a tough spot, had to come up with another clutch shot. Jimmy's hit a couple already. I don't care how good you are, you're bound to miss 1 at some point. Tony strikes a 5. It is 20-5 in favor of Big Tone. Tony sets a blocker, first bag. Jimmy gets in behind. Tony maybe roll bag, maybe airmail. I wouldn't think he would block in behind here. He likes to get bags in the hole. He's going to go up. Airmail drag his blocker, and he's disappointed about the shot he just hit. Jimmy with 2 bags bunched up to the left. Left side of the hole, not completely out of lane. He's going to have a tough time pulling those back in. Tony decides to put a blocker and jam up Jimmy's bags. Jimmy goes for an airmail. He's off the back. He did break 1 loose. Tony's going to have an opportunity to win it right here. He's got to be 1 point better. He's got some options. He could airmail. He could push it all in and get to 12, and there's nothing Jimmy can do about it. But if Tony leaves his bag on the board, Jimmy's going to have an opportunity. Good bag right there by Tony. Tony is at 10. Jimmy has to knock Tony's bag off and go in with both of them. And almost did it. He managed to knock Tony's bags out. That we call that a bar of soap shot back home. Didn't quite execute it the way it needed to be. But once again, Tony puts you behind the 8 ball and makes you make really, and nobody's going to hit all of them. Tony's going to take the victory in this one. Tony's going to sit in the king seat. Jimmy's going to have to win 1 to get back to Tony. And he's going to have to pull off the double dip. That's all we're going to have for you now, folks. We're going to take a commercial break. We'll be back in a few minutes.